Happy Sunday. Welcome back. It is time for my weekly wrap up. Hope you're doing well. And let's roll right into the books I read this past week. Let's start off with The Cabin at the End of the World. Gave this a 2.8 out of 5. Not my favorite book. Then I read The Edge, which I don't have a physical copy of. I'll put it up here on the screen for you. I have it on Audible and listened to it this week. I gave it a 3.9 out of 5. It's the second book in the Travis Devine series. I enjoyed it. I'm going to be reading book 3 soon when it's released later this week. And so that's on the radar for this coming week, but we'll get into that shortly. And so moving right along, I just put my review up of Corey's Cut by Max Allan Collins. I gave this a 3.2 out of 5. Pretty spicy, not my cup of tea, but I got through it. It's a quick read. I also read book 3 in the Evan Tanner series, Tanner's 12 Swingers. I gave this a 4.4 out of 5. I really enjoyed this one. Thought this was a really good step up for the Evan Tanner series. There's 8 books in the series, and now I'm 3 books in, and I think it's showing promise. So I really enjoyed it. I read 2 short stories for Saturday Short Stories. Started with a short story from Harriet Beecher Stowe back in the 1870s, The Ghost in the Mill. I gave it a 3 out of 5. Just was okay for me. And then I read a short story out of this collection, The Best American Mystery Stories, and it was Rodney Valen's Second Life by Kent Myers. I gave it a 4.4 out of 5. So overall, between my books and short stories, my average score was a 3.6. It was pretty down from the previous weeks, and I could tell some of the books weren't as polished and as enjoyable as some of the other weeks, but I got books read, and that's what matters. So let's dive right in and talk about videos from last week. I did 14 videos last week. Yeah. 14. I did book reviews, Saturday shorts, another Conan entry, a From the Shelves number 6. I did an October end of month wrap up. I did a TBR reshuffle, Let Me Know number 11, a Q&A number 4. I did a How Well Does My Bookstore Owner Know Me tag. I did the top 5 John Grisham books. I did a book haul number 28, and I did a YouTube short on What Are You Reading Wednesday. And so yeah, 14 videos and a YouTube short. Busy week. So let's talk about subscriber comments. I surpassed 350 videos. 350 videos on my channel. It's pretty epic. And I got a lot of flack for this, but 58 videos in October. That's a lot of videos. So with that being said, let's roll through some of these people. I say this every week that, man, the engagement has been crazy, but this week is no exception. There's a lot of people to give a shout out here, so we're going to roll right through this. Rowdy Player 1, Caleb Welch, Dylan Morris, Random Reading Pathways, Adventures in Literature, Bing Lamb, Some Other Character, Reading Ideas, Book Chat with Pat, Book Ramble, Lynn's 12, Matthew Aguilar 8634, Secret Fire Books, My Mother, Xanadu Castle, Steve Donahue, Redbriar Fred, McNulty Book Corral, Jack Yo 3076, maybe it's Jace Yo 3076. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Book Buds, Twice Born by Grace, Faceless Book Reviews, Bob Can Read, Bob McDonald, Ghoul, Little Big Library, Just Dawn 6288, Nerdishly Active, one of the OGs, Already Overbooked, Trav's Bookshelf, Mimi's 5769, Kelly Loves Books and Movies, CJ Rated Books, A.Z. Wahine Reads, I think that's how you pronounce that, Maddie Ross, Cobalt Dragon, Eric's Bookshelf, Bookworm Reads, user WH5MR1RE2E, Maeve Everbooks, Michael K. Vaughn, Novel Insights, Paper Pages Possibilities, Odd Audie Online, Ted Read Instead, Fainer27, Lassa Mezzo, Dustin Neely, Bookless Pete, Cliff Amons, Ingrid Fitz 5677, Kathleen Rickner 6695, Robert Lynn 7746. You all are getting a shout out. Thank you. There was a lot of engagement this week, a lot of comments. I really appreciate it. People asking for recommendations, people, commenting about videos, people asking questions, people tagging me and stuff, which we'll get to. So what am I reading this week? So this week, obviously, there's the third book in the Travis Divine series comes out this week. So I will get to that later in the week. But my focus is going to start out with Ride the River by Louis L'Amour. This is book number 5 in the Sackett series. So this has got my attention. And I am going to be starting later this evening, God, a biography by Jack Miles. My first foray into nonfiction, Steve. And I thought this would be a great entry point. And so I've got this on the radar for this evening. I'm looking forward to reading it. And so TBR update-wise, I have got several books still on the TBR. I've knocked off one of them, The Edge, book number 2. I'm going to be reading these 2 books plus the third book in the Travis Divine series. That will knock off those, which will leave me with book number 6 in the Sackett series, The Daybreakers, Stiff by Mary Roach, another nonfiction, and then this 1,000-page behemoth, book number 3 in the Dandelion Dynasty by Ken Liu, The Veiled Throne. So I'm going to have to get to this next week for sure, or I'm just not going to get this done in the month of November. So I got a lot to read. I got a lot to stay up on. I'm got to get 100 pages in a day because I have 3,000 pages to read in November. So yeah, there's a lot on there. So rolling into book-related news. And so I mentioned this last week, but Robert Dugani has a new book coming out, or it's actually out, Beyond Reasonable Doubt. It's book number 2 in the Dugan series, or the Dugan series. And then I also had some kind of updates. Project Hail Mary's movie adaptation starring Ryan Gosling. They actually finished filming. There is a March 2026 release date. I am looking forward to that movie. I really, really enjoy Project Hail Mary. I've read it multiple times. It's fantastic. If you haven't read it, check it out on Audible. If you have Audible, you should listen to this book. It is fantastic. Andy Serkis, who played Gollum in the movies, The Lord of the Rings, is directing and starring in an adaptation of Animal Farm, which has an ETA later in 2025. Harry Dresden, book number 18, it's titled 12 Months. And book number 19, Mirror Mirror, has no release date on book number 18, but everyone is hopeful in the Harry Dresden and Jim Butcher fandom of a 2025 release date for book number 18. So I'm very excited about that. Red God, Red Rising, book number 7 is planned for January 2025 release. I have not read Red Rising series, but it's on my radar. It's on my radar. Stephen King has been on Twitter. Not that I don't own Twitter, but I saw this in one of my feeds. He's been talking about Midworld and the territories. And so people are speculating that maybe he's low-key dropping a hint that he's writing another Dark Tower-related book, or maybe a spin-off or something related to the Talisman or Black House. So that could be pretty interesting. And so upcoming video-wise, what is on the horizon for this week? Well, usually I roll through all these videos I'm going to be doing this week, which I will, but I definitely want to make sure you stay in because this week's going to be a little different. Obviously, I'm going to roll through book reviews. I'm going to have my Saturday shorts. I'm going to do a Conan and a From the Shelves, and I have several book tags. I mean, there's like 5, I think, it's in my queue to get done. And so I'm going to be working on those. I have a book haul that's going to be forthcoming probably tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. And then my weekly wrap-up, which I traditionally do on Sundays, I'm going to be traveling for business, so I'm not going to do a weekly wrap-up in another 7 days. I will probably end up doing my weekly wrap-up Saturday evening, sometime, and that way I can knock that out, and I'll be traveling all day Sunday, so I won't be much in front of a camera and PC, so just be on the lookout. I will have an early weekly wrap up probably on Saturday this coming week. So other than that, that is my weekly wrap up. I hope you're doing well, and I will talk to you all on the next one. Thanks. 3, 2, 1.